Hi, I'm a student at the University of King's College.
What's your name?
My name is Tasha. My question for you is that we are all here as students. Nova Scotia has the highest tuition in Canada. It's an average of $9,328. The national average is $6,834. While there are federal programs like tax credits and increased grants, they are not keeping up with inflation, and student debt is at an all-time high. So it's clear that these programs are failing students. What specifically will the federal government do to address the national student debt crisis? And how are you planning on making education more affordable for students? Thank you.
That's an excellent question, Tasha. And I can see a really important one. The federal government has a significant role to play in making sure that post-secondary education is affordable across the country. It matters to Canada that wherever you go to school across the country, and wherever you end up working across the country, whether it's in the province you grew up in or in another place, that you have the best quality education. We need to make sure that everyone in Canada can make the right choices for them and doesn't see financial barriers as a reason for them not to continue their studies, not to follow their dreams, not to be able to get the best possible education they can. And Canada's been successful over the past many years. We are the best educated country in the OECD, which is a large collection of developed and highly developed countries. But there's always more to do. So the federal government has a framework around student loans and grants and bursaries and supports that are significant and right across the country. We've recently doubled the amount of student grants, particularly focused on the challenges of the pandemic. But we've also moved forward in the pandemic to eliminate student interest payments on student loans through the pandemic, but we've made that now permanent. There is no more interest on student loans, which at a time of rising interest rates is of concern. So that is going to make a difference. So we've increased the thresholds so that you only have to start paying back your student loans once you're making a minimum of $40,000 a year. You also we've reduced from 20% to 10% the maximum amount of payments you have to make at any given time onto paying back your student loans. So we've done a lot of forgiveness. The other piece is if you're graduating as a doctor or a nurse, there are massive and generous loan forgiveness programs if you're going to go work in a more rural area or a more underserved area as an incentive to make sure that we're getting good healthcare professionals right across the country. And Halifax, in Nova Scotia, it means pretty much anywhere outside of Halifax counts. But it's initiatives to make sure that we are supporting people to not worry that they're not going to be able to pay back their student loans. And that's a big piece of it. But we also know you are challenged with costs right now, from inflation hitting hard right now, to rents going up, to challenges around finding time or abilities to get those good paying jobs while you're working at an overwhelmed level. There are real challenges out there, and we've looked at direct supports that we can send. We doubled the GST rebate last year for 6 months to give extra help through the fall. We're moving forward on dental benefits in the coming years, now for kids under 12, but we're moving forward on dental benefits that are broader than that over the coming years. So everyone can have access to a dentist. We've got extra supports for low-income renters. There's lots of things we're doing, but one of the core elements of your question, Tasha, is it's particularly difficult in Nova Scotia. We have a country where different provinces take different approaches on these sorts of things. And our job as a federal government isn't to critique one part or the other of the country, as long as they're making decisions that are supported by their populations. But it's also not to compensate for provinces that make decisions that make certain things more expensive to a greater degree here in Nova Scotia than elsewhere. So we have lots of federal supports. We will continue to try and encourage people to bring down tuition costs, make sure there are lots of reasons for you to be able to feel confident about going into debt so that you can finish your university education, knowing that you will be able to pay it back with the kinds of supports and with the kinds of good jobs that'll be out there. Because we know that this is a big investment in your future that we're making, and we know that it's the right investment. So the combination of these things means that we're always looking for what we can do more to support students, particularly through this time. But it's something that we do together with and alongside provinces that I think can always do more as well.